Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here in my hands, the NV30 Night Vision Monocular from Acpotel. Now this particular unit here, even though it is in the form factor of a monocular, I do kind of use it with two eyes. At this point, I've been doing a whole bunch of field testing, and this is a very interesting unit for a number of reasons. I have looked at other units in the past with a similar form factor, but this particular unit does set itself apart from the competition for a few reasons. First off, it does have both optical and digital zoom. Optical zoom is something that's absolutely fantastic, taking advantage of the glass and the lenses to do some of the zooming, and then also having the digital zoom on top of that. But second, this is the first unit I have ever seen that has aperture control. Now, that for me is something that we're definitely going to need to test and test at length. It does have aperture control, which should allow you to fine-tune your overall brightness really with the turn of a dial, so that is absolutely sweet. So what we're going to do, a whole bunch of field use testing, both in the daytime and at the nighttime. I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this particular unit, but with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Acpotel who did provide this for review. So as you're looking through, you can see it has angles, so both up and down. I think is maybe on the right hand side, so that's going to be your it's like right in the eyepiece. So as you're looking in the right hand side, it should be showing you the angle. So if you we'll loosen this, right? So loosen that up, and now you can tilt it around. It should be showing you the angle.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then
degrees, yeah.
And now rotate it like sideways, and that's on the left hand side.
Oh yeah.
So it's telling, for whatever that's worth. That's your record. So I'm curious, I don't know if that is recording like the angle and stuff, or just what the vision is. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, are you seeing what the screen sees when it records, or are you just seeing what's off in the distance? I don't really know.
I'm seeing both.
Yeah. You'll see both, but I don't know about the recorded footage, you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah.
So this is fully zoomed in with optical zoom. This is as far in as it goes, but here you can see long press into digital zoom. Okay, so timeout. This leads me to my first frustration with this unit. As I was going to zoom in, the recording literally stops. So that's the first thing. As you're recording your footage, if you're pressing the digital zoom button, the recording literally stops. That's extremely frustrating for many, many reasons. So if you're using the optical zoom, no problem. But the minute you go to that digital zoom, the recording stops. To me, that's completely ineffective. That actually goes against everything you're trying to do. So if you were using this to observe wildlife, if you were using this for surveillance, if you were using this for any functional reason that required the recording, the fact that as soon as you hit the digital zoom, it stops, makes this a non-starter for me. But continuing on with the review.
Can zoom in.
So is that recording?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we are recording.
So yeah, I mean, if we had to make a guess at that distance, I'd say at least 2 football fields, right? Maybe 3? I don't know.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Might be.
But like if you knew or had to identify those people, I think you absolutely could.
It is a really clear image for that kind of distance. And I really do love the fact that you can see when the camera is on a level plane with the screen. You got the scale on the side too. The vertical scale. Yeah, so you got the numbers down in the bottom corners.
Yep.
And you got the
the angle.
yeah, I think that's what that is on the side,
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
Yeah, I think it'll be great for mountain goats out west. A lot of tree cover over here, but 3 miles out, pretty clear.
Looking at birds too.
The zoom is good. I've done a lot of hunting. This definitely gets out there.
And even with the digital zoom, do you think that's clear enough to see?
It's not bad, yeah. From like the zoom, from the manual zoom to the
Yeah, from exactly.
yeah, no, I think it's good. It's steady 3 miles out. I mean, I think sitting right there, it's not even moving. It's on a tripod, but even still. But yeah,
So the other thing I like to test is how close can you actually focus. And some of these units that are really, really good, yeah, I'm on like tiny, tiny details.
probably 5 years old, because they say it's coming. But there's they've got the technology to have bracelet at night, looking like this.
That there's people walking. But yeah.
When you zoom in like that, you
Now here for some more field testing. This is an area that I really like to test for a number of different devices, simply because it kind of gives me a benchmark against other products that I've taken a look at in the past. Now here you can see at this point I do have this pretty much on the standard mode. You can see the lights going down, it's getting dark, but this is a place where if I could see some wildlife, there's a pretty good chance. Now you'll notice I am leveraging the microphone for all of this narration, so it really does require the microphone to do a decent job picking this up. So if there's any problem hearing, that's because of the microphone in the unit. But as we work through the different modes, I'm going to take a single.
And so there, another example of my recording stopping in the middle as I changed the modes. In this particular case, I was hitting the IR button. So going from your standard vision to the color IR, and then ultimately the IR emitter. The recording stops. So my entire narration, my entire discussion, my entire demonstration to you, not captured on this particular segment of the video, and I don't even remember exactly what I said. So unfortunately, you don't get to see my comments, you don't get to see my overall impressions for this particular segment, but the impression that I get is that lack of recording, and the fact that the recording for some reason stops in the middle is very, very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Now every time I push a button, it seems like it stops recording. I honestly can't tell. So if you haven't gotten a vast majority of my narration, I do have to say I will be quite upset. I'm hoping that it recorded, but it might not have, because the digital display that shows me sort of the record flashing and the numbers and the time going up stops displaying as soon as I hit one of the mode buttons, or the zoom, or the IR emitter. So that's a little bit of a miss. So for example, if I press the up button for the digital zoom, I feel like my display is going to stop flashing record, which now pressing, okay, I take it back. So when I press the digital zoom, it does still show me that it's recording, but as soon as I press the IR emitter, now pressing the button, so now pressing the record button again, it does seem as though the recording stopped, but I can't say for sure. You can see here, no IR emitter. So let's move locations and we'll keep testing. Now here, pressing record again, the full IR emitter and zoomed all the way out. So it should be a nice tight beam. You should see that emitter. And as I pan around, not really much in the way of visibility. Again, I can pretty much see with my naked eye, but not really too much with the night vision monocular. I don't quite understand. As I zoom in, even with inferior units, I would be able to see all of this detail. And in this particular case, pretty much just a muddled picture. So the quality, in my opinion, is not very good at all. I mean, I've had basically very, very cheap, like $99 units that can do way better than this. I mean, not to sound rude, but this is kind of sad in terms of the quality of the picture. So anybody who's tested these units who says that they've gotten a good picture out of it, I honestly can't really say that I see that. Again, I've tested many, many units. Look back through my channel. You can see the details. I mean, there's no reason why I can't see these branches literally perfectly. At this point, I'm going to back off the zoom. I'm on a tree literally directly in front of me. You can see the beam. I'm going to widen this out. And at this point here, getting that into focus. This tree here is 4 feet in front of me, and not even a great picture. Moving to the left, this tree is about 10 feet in front of me. It's grainy, you can see a lot of grain. And then off into the distance there, not great. Focusing that beam, that's about, I would say maybe 20 feet away. I'm going to zoom into this. That's the full intensity of the IR emitter with the full optical zoom. Again, not great. That should be literally crystal clear detail, the ability to see the bark, no problem. I mean, to me, not really worth it. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get much out of this unit at all. And again, finally, fully zoomed out again with that IR emitter tightened down. That should just be a perfect beam of light, nice and bright. The sensor, to me, just not doing its job. I don't understand. Again, at this point, I have the IR emitter all the way up, trying to get things focused, dialed in. Again, not great. Zooming into the picture. This tree is literally about 45 feet away, maybe 50 feet away. The fact that it's not crystal clear is mind-blowing. I can't understand it for the life of me. This should have tons of detail. It shouldn't be grainy. The amount of grain in the picture, this is literally indistinguishable. Again, I just can't understand. This sign is literally 3 feet in front of me. At this point, the IR emitter in full blast. It is widened out, so it's an even beam, and you can actually read this. However, what I'm going to say is now I'm going to get on the aperture controls, and as I adjust the aperture, you can see this is what they're saying is fully open aperture, and then as I spin the dial, it's auto compensating, and then to the point where it actually goes blurry. And if I go back the other way, it's almost as if it actually actuates the focus. Again, I can't quite understand. Trying to get this dialed in, I can't with the aperture in this particular location. So I got to take the aperture, change it up a bit, get back on the focus, and now it comes back into focus. So there's some real soft spots in the aperture for sure. And again, just pointing out that I can focus that beam. You can see now, focusing that beam, my actual focus goes out. And now I need to dial it back in to become more crisp, but not great. Getting on the aperture. Again, it throws my focus out. Trying to tweak it. This is tough. Widening that back out, getting back on my focus. Right now there's a soft spot in the aperture, tweaking that. There we go. Very difficult. It's really a combination of the focus, the aperture, and the zoom. Again, to me, this picture looks very soft. There's no reason why it's this soft. It should be perfectly crystal clear. I mean, look it. There's nothing in this focal range that's even crisp, and a double image at that. There we go. So I finally got that dialed in. You can see at this distance it took some messing with it. So the combination of zoom, aperture, and focus really takes a lot for me to get this picture dialed in. It's not intuitive. I don't know. Very, very difficult.
And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Acpotel NV30. Now, all in all, you can see I was very frustrated throughout this review. However, I do think a few things. I do think this unit has a lot of potential. I do think this unit has the potential to still be a leading contender if the people at Acpotel can make some adjustments. Now, for a first go around on a unit with an adjustable aperture, I give them really a lot of credit for trying, but there are a few things that I have to say. Now let's talk about the reason for an adjustable aperture in the first place. You can use it for depth of field. Now, I don't think that's what Acpotel is going for. I think what they're really intending on is the ability to dial in the brightness in your scene. And if that's the case, it seems to me like they have the sensor auto-adjusting to compensate back to almost like a neutral EV. Now, if that is the case, I kind of don't get the reason for the adjustable aperture in the first place. And I think it's the adjustable aperture that's actually creating a lot of the issues in this unit, especially for the overall quality of the clarity of the image. That to me is where it's kind of becoming difficult. I did find that the aperture absolutely knocks out the focus. And I don't know if there's something that's just like loose on the inside or what. I can't figure out for the life of me what it is. I don't know if the aperture controls are truly mechanical or if they're somehow electronic. And if that's the case, there's something that's going on that when you adjust it, even if you're very careful not to touch the adjustment wheels, it knocks the focus out. I can't say why. I don't understand it. It's just something that happens. The audio quality I can kind of get around because at least it does get decent audio. It's a little soft, it's a little muddled, and of course when you touch the controls, that is also an issue, but that's the case with any night vision unit. I don't care what unit it is, that's always kind of the case. The overall build quality is definitely sound, and the only other thing that I can say that's a little bit of like a negative is the fact that, and it's kind of a big deal, when you press some of the buttons, the recording stops. If you're recording footage with this, that is an issue. Now, before we wrap this entire thing up, let's get into the difference between my user's experience and the recorded footage that you see. In the daytime, my user's experience was very good. In the daytime, the overall impressions that I got, the clarity, the ability to zoom in, and again, you know, unfortunately messing with that aperture kind of messed with my focus. But other than that, my daytime user's experience through the device was very good. The recorded footage was okay, but pretty much mirror image roughly what my user's experience was overall. Was there some artifacts in the recorded footage? Yes. Was there some grain in the recorded footage? Yes. That's not really so evident when you're looking through the screen. So from my user's experience in the daytime, pretty good overall. But at nighttime, that's where things change. My user's experience and the recorded footage are very, very similar. So the frustrations you see that were recorded were what I was really dealing with while I was looking through the unit. The overall graininess and the overall lack of ability to see. All of that holds true. I can't understand why the IR emitter is not doing its job. And again, I go back to the fact that I think all of this stems from the adjustable aperture. I feel like if that wasn't here, this would have performed much, much better. I can't quite pinpoint it, but again, that was my overall user's experience. And even dialing in the IR emitter, you do have the ability to dial this in. It didn't do enough. I don't get it. This thing should have been beaming with good, powerful, bright light, fully illuminating my scene with good quality. Yet the entire time it was grainy. I just can't quite understand. So I think this unit has potential. I just think it needs more development. I don't think it's there yet. So future iterations of this will probably be amazing. At least I hope the people at Acpotel look at my footage and listen to my advice and take it to heart and go back and make corrections. And if they do, this will be awesome. I can tell you there will be a unit in the very near future, if I think things go the way they're going to go. I think there will be a unit that performs, but right now it's not quite there. And so, all right, guys, that's a wrap. To the people at Acpotel, thank you very much for providing this for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there, so if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you liked what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.